Does your child keep bringing home failing grades and you're like, why do you keep failing at these subjects or why aren't you passing these subjects? What's going on? Well, guess what? I have a solution for you. I am Dr. LaJoy and I have been teaching for over 20 years. I got into this profession because I am a solution oriented person. I'm all about finding solutions to these problems or why students are not comprehending well or writing well, or why do they have such a low self-esteem about themselves. Those are the three areas that I specialize in, and I find such passion trying to really make a difference and help parents, find solutions in their household as well that really works for them, where they could see the results. It's all about the results. And so today's topic is three ways to improve comprehension. And so that is a question that comes up every time I meet with a parent. It's like, well, how can they improve their comprehension? Let's dive deep into it. So the first thing that I do with the students that I have, and I even encourage the parents, I give them assessments where they can assess and make sure that we are seeing the exact same things, but it's to give a diagnostic. Now, I know that kids are testing a lot, and it's like, oh my gosh, another test. But it's really important to give a diagnostic assessment, and most district diagnostic assessments will definitely break down what the child knows and what the child does not know. And so it's really important to share that with parents. And so you could create goals around that. What I do is create a strength and weakness chart. I give that to the parents and we create goals together along with the child being present because it has to be buy in from all three parties. And so once we create these goals, and these goals are not long term, they're short term. Like, how can we turn this around? Whatever your weakness is, how can we turn it around in 2 weeks? How can we turn it around in 1 week? How can we fix this if you're so close to mastery level, but you missed it? What question did you miss? Why did you miss that question? A lot of why in analyzation, right? So we need to be able to do that. A lot of teachers, and I'm not saying anything about this, but a lot of teachers will just give them an A or give them a B. Okay. You give them a B, what does that mean? So, yes, it means they passed, but the stuff that they lacked or they didn't do well in, is it going to show up again somewhere else? So we want to always make sure that they master everything. So a C, if they get a C, that means they're missing a lot more than what a B would stand for, correct? But if you know they are lacking that, what are we doing to fix it? We just can't leave it there because things starts to pile up. The things they lacked or didn't know, now when they get to another grade, they're missing those things. It's carrying over to a year later. They still don't know it because it wasn't retaught, or if it was or if it was retaught, it wasn't retained by the student because they're still lacking that on assessments and in the classroom. So to bridge that gap, what I do is, again, a strength. This is strategy number one. I create that strength and weakness chart, and everything that is weak that is necessary right now, we definitely will dig deeper into that as a parent, as a student, and we will fix it. And so whatever that fix looks like, we're monitoring it to make sure that we're changing that weakness to a strength. That has been very effective. I will be very transparent. It's very time consuming, especially if you are an elementary teacher that you have maybe 30 kids in a classroom or 28 kids in the classroom. And then if you have a block schedule and you have three and four, five teachers teaching ELA, then you got like over 100 kids. Same thing with middle school teachers. Normally you have at least 5 or 6 periods or classes. And so you have up to maybe 150 kids that you have to do that for. That does become very time consuming. But guess what? When you do it the right way and you do it that way, you are going to have top results from it. It's when we're not balancing our time as educators to really do that. And we're showing up with a lot of kids making a 50% or 60% grade point, what their grade is in the school. As far as the percentage in the classroom, or you have the same student who started out with a C and they end with a C and they had 12 or 10 months with you. So no, we have to do something different. We have to change the algorithm of how we conduct business in the classroom, and we have to change the algorithm of how we do things in our household. So with parents, I'm telling you that, or suggesting, not telling, but suggesting that we do some things that are different. And so let that strength and weakness chart be the forefront of your mind, and be okay with reaching out to those teachers once a week and saying, hey, or either 2 weeks or whatever the goal is, 10 days, whatever you all decide, and let's revisit this. Let's see how my child is doing. And the only way you can do that is to by observation or do another assessment or whatever. It's nothing long and drawn out, because it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of what you're asking from that child. It could be a two question assessment, but did they get those two questions right according to the text they read? So that's really important. So again, being consistent with the strength and weakness chart, creating goals, and having the buy-in. I will also say a lot of one-on-one or small groups. So with teachers, I know pulling small groups can be really difficult at times when you have a lot of students in the classroom with a lot of different emotional needs, a lot of academic needs, a lot of social needs, a lot of demands. And then if you are in middle school, sometimes you only have 50 minutes and you got to get all those kids on track every single day in those 50 minutes. Pulling a small group can be difficult because you're not able to meet with every child every day. In elementary, it's a little bit more flexible where you can do that, but it still takes a lot of balance in the classroom. It takes a lot of good classroom management. And it is, an experience level of being consistent with what you're doing and being able to be experienced with being able to manage a rotation. So when you're in a small group, that you have kids that's actually really working, and you're monitoring them and checking with every child every day as they move through the stations. That takes time to build that. And it also takes time for the kids to build that within themselves, building that relationship with other peers in order to really be successful as a group. So that's strategy number two, is being able to meet one-on-one or being able to meet in a small group. And even for parents, I would set a time every single day, maybe at 6 o'clock, where you would check in with your child every day at 6. They can expect that. I know when I was growing up, every day at 5 o'clock, I knew that my mom was going to sit me down and ask me, what did you do in school? Let me see your homework. Let me check it. Why did you miss this question? Go back and reread. I mean, it was definitely a routine. So that's something that I grew up doing even as an adult. I have a routine in my life, what I do from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, because I was structured that way. And I think that it helps me to really organize my life and get a lot accomplished in one day. And I believe that we have to set those same routines for kids and let them know that I can't be on the phone at 6 o'clock talking to my friends because my mom or my dad or whoever is taking care of me. They're going to check in with me every day and make sure that I'm staying on track academically. That's important. I think that we lack the consistency in both places, in the classroom and at home sometimes, to really see these results through. So my last one, number three, would be able to keep a digital track, because not only that you're verbally saying, oh, well, yeah, they mastered this, they mastered that, but being able to track it and then be able to give it to the teacher um, moving forward so they will know what strategies that really worked. I remember a student, and I call it the Sweet 16 list, because there were 16 strategies that I used that year. And it made a major difference with this student. No one before me was able to really accomplish the academic results from this student. And this did not come from my opinion or from me. It came from the parent's mouth. It came from looking at data from the last 3 years versus that child being in my classroom. And so this parent wrote a beautiful, beautiful letter at the end of the year. It was like 2 pages, front and back, and it was typed up, and it was just saying that how these 16 strategies have really made a difference. And the lady, 2 years later, came back to me and said, teachers are still using these same strategies that you came up with. And she makes sure that every teacher uses them, or she um, reference these strategies and saying this is what works. And then she told me recently, last month when she got in contact with me, that um, 3 or 4 additional strategies have been implemented. So now it's 20, right? It's 20 strategies, because as things get harder, the needs are a little bit more demanding. And so kudos to that parent for being an advocate and being consistent. That is the key, being consistent on what works. So those are the 3 things that I would say would be very impactful, and they're very practical. So please start using those. Let me know how you feel in the comments. After you click off this video, you use it right away and say, Dr. LaJoy, that worked. Or like Dr. LaJoy, I had to tweak that a little bit in my household. Let me know what that looked like for you, because it's all about building a community. Listen, we have to look out for one another when it comes to these kids. It takes a community to build these kids up the way they should be built in order to feel successful. So I am open to all resources in order to help build and strengthen our community as a whole. These kids matter. They really do. And so that's all I have for you. Hopefully you found value in this video. I'm going to continue to make the videos because I have so many things to talk about to really help and be part of the transformation. So until the next video, y'all, take care.